Covering the islands of the Bahamas, ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Notable changes on the way this academic year as thousands of students begin a new term. Good evening, I'm Opal Roach in for Keishla Adley. This is The Bahamas Tonight. Educational officials taking steps to turn those national grades around as emphasis will be placed in core subject areas. The education minister says the move is necessary for the proper development of students. Tonight we have team coverage on the opening of school, beginning with our Altaviz Munnings.
By the time Education Minister Jerome Fitzgerald arrived here at his office at the Ministry of Education on Thompson Boulevard around 9 o'clock, he had already visited 5 schools. He's very optimistic and enthused about the new school year and hopes that all parents, teachers, administrators, and students are on board.
We're going to focus particularly over the next month with making sure the changes in our curriculum at grades 1 to 3 with regard to the doubling our contact periods with English and reading and grammar, as well as math. We're going to make sure that that curriculum adjustment is implemented, and we've done it in a short space of time, and so we have to go and do some more training, and we have to be in very close contact with the teachers, particularly in grades 1 through 3.
The education minister personally ensured during the summer break that the physical conditions of schools nationwide were ready for opening day, and it did. Besides that, senior education officials reviewed a succession plan for teachers and reorganized their leadership team. That should be fully completed by the end of September.
We're trying to focus on looking at the talent we have within the ministry. We have so much talent within the ministry that I think is underutilized, and persons are not really in positions I believe they should be in.
But all of these goals require money. Minister Fitzgerald relies on the wealth of talent already in the Ministry of Education to execute their plan. However, more money always helps.
We have the IDB loan, which is assisting us in our career path, which is a big push. And I expect that probably next year, once we're able to implement the parts that we are committed to under the IDB, that we will put forth another proposal for further funding.
And the education minister firmly believes that knowledge and education can make the difference in solving our social ills.
The level of excitement this morning was very high, and I was very pleased to see that. It's a new found energy, and we want to make education exciting. We want to make it sexy. We want to get people involved in it, and you know, just let our young people know that this is the way for them to better themselves, and their government is doing everything that they can to ensure that they have the tools and the education they need to succeed.
Altaviz Munnings, ZNS News.
Now, with thousands of students back in the classrooms, authorities want to ensure that those campuses are safe. That's why school policing has been reintroduced. And as Janine Noel Ferguson tells us, it also comes as a number of violent attacks have been reported at various campuses.
About 200 police officers entered the schools today to ensure safety for teachers and students. According to officials, they will remain there throughout the year, but there is a different breakdown at each school level.
There are some schools that where we must have police presence right now, and there are some schools that we'll be continue to look at to find out whether or not we need a police presence. We did not have a lot of problems coming from the primary and junior school. It was mainly the high schools. And we are going to be working with the different level of schools, the junior high schools, to see if there's any of them that requires the police presence on site every day.
Assistant Commissioner of Police Leon Bethel was at the various schools ensuring that officers were properly acclimated in the school environment. Bethel, however, responded to some concerns about police officers being armed on the school campus.
In some instances, police officers will be armed, but we don't want visibly armed officers around our children. lady here, she is one of our officers here on the ground here, and she's not armed, right? We don't want guns around our children. We don't want our children to be accustomed to the sight and the use to see the guns around them.
Meanwhile, over at the CV Bethel High School, National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage was busy making his rounds. He noted the importance of police in the schools, which is to provide a safe environment and build community relations with students. However, the argument that police would be better served on the streets is one that Dr. Nottage does not agree with.
How can they serve better on the streets? And these schools have 1,000, 1,500 young people in them all day long. They have to come to school, they have to leave school. They are the people. I mean, there are police on the streets. We have saturation patrols going on, we have selective enforcement going on, we have mobiles, we have police up through and through this town. Some may argue that we need more police, but those who argue that the police should be doing something else don't understand policing. Neither do they have a good appreciation for where the hot spots are in our communities.
He was equally concerned about weapons entering the schools and said that every measure will be taken to give officers the tools they need, including metal detectors. At the end of the day, Dr. Nottage says the idea is to have a safe environment for all. Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS News.
Now, security officials at the Ministry of Education think it's a good step to place officers on campuses. Acting Security Director Christopher Smith says they spent a lot of time reviewing the matter and he feels it's a must.
You can never have too much security, especially when you're looking at the youths and stuff like that. The kind of decision that we make as adults, we can sort of navigate our way through, but a lot of times they need guidance. So all hands on deck as far as that is concerned, and I certainly welcome them, and the ministry welcome that. And this is going to be an excellent program for the Bahamas.
Now, police officers will only be stationed at public high schools, but Smith says the primary schools have not been left out. He says the private sector will take care of that area.
And that's how important we think it was, to make sure that we have the safety that is needed and to give the children the kind of protection and stuff, and so that parents could feel comfortable in dropping their children off here in the morning time.
Well, our team coverage on the opening of school continues with Stephen Gay, who visited T.G. Glover Primary today. He says even though the institution is crowded, teachers are ready for the challenge.
For a second year since being relocated into its new school campus on Horseshoe Drive, the T.G. Glover Primary School has grown. School administrators report that the population is currently 100 students below the maximum capacity of 800, with the biggest growth rate seen in grades 1 through 3. School Principal Cassandra Forbes said that her staff is committed to improving on the academic standards that were realized last year. She said this year, added focus will be placed on literacy and numeracy with the aim of improving on her school's present reading levels, where 58% of her students are reading above their current grade level.
We are going back to the old days when we sing our timetables, where we have mental drills every single day, where children can just answer the questions without having to count their fingers or to count objects to get an answer. They have also implemented ways in which the parents can be an integral part of the literacy program.
Parental involvement is key to the academic success of any child, and according to Vice Principal Carolyn Mitchell, this year officials at T.G. Glover intend to build on the relationships to encourage parents to get involved in their children's learning.
We want to be able to get our parents actively engaged in the activities or their child's life here at the school. We feel that if we want to promote a solid or firm foundation in education, our parents are to be actively engaged. And so this year we have strategized some plans that will get our parents on board, because we know a good recipe is that of parental involvement, teachers, and then indeed we're going to have a successful school. So that is one of our top priority moving forward this school year.
Stephen Gay, ZNS News.
A number of public high schools are overcrowded. That's because many students had to switch to the government educational system. And while this could mean a financial cut for private schools, Andrew Knowles tells us it's not the case for some of the institutions.
As students return to the classroom this academic school year, for some it'll be familiar territory, while for others a whole new experience in a whole new school environment. Due to the economic pinch on the pockets of parents, many private school students have made the swap to the public school system. And already, L.W. Young Junior High School Principal Janet Nixon says enrollment numbers are slightly exceeding the school's quota.
I'm looking forward to a population of about 900 students. According to my records, I have 820 on register presently.
Education Director Lionel Sands says he expects there to be an increase of about 2,500 students into the public school system, with a huge chunk of them accounting for those transfers. And that's why principal at the C.I. Gibson Senior High School says he's keeping a close eye on the numbers.
Well, we have had students coming in from the private sector wanting to register, who would have been registered, and some from other public schools who moved into the area. But for the most part, we are meeting our expected quota.
And with some private schools losing students because of financial hardships, it's even caused one private high school to close its doors. However, here at Queens College, Vice Principal Sean Turnquest says the economic pinch hasn't impacted the school's population. In fact, she says they've been getting calls on a daily basis to admit students.
And we are bursting at the seams. We have no space for any more students. So while the public schools have seen an increase, we too have seen an increase. We have not had our enrollment drop over the last several years, as a matter of fact.
It's the same story for officials at Kingsway Academy, who are experiencing a shortage of classroom space.
We've had a slight increase. We won't know final numbers till tomorrow or the end of the week, where we wait to see who shows up and who doesn't. But we've had a slight increase, and we're still doing entrance exams. So we're doing well, and we're over last year, so we're happy about that.
Now, while it was the first day of school for public school students, officials at the various schools used today for orientation of new students. Now, tomorrow is when the returning students will have their first day at school, and on Wednesday is when all students are expected to return to the classrooms. Andrew Knowles, ZNS News.
It's also the first official teaching day for some 4,000 public school teachers. President of the Teachers Union, Belinda Wilson, who was in Grand Bahama at orientation for teachers, told ZNS News that the first day went smoothly. Wilson said that some new teachers are still in the process of being placed, and this process could be completed by the end of the week.
Nassau, most of the schools, the physical structure, they're ready. The children turned up to school today. What was also note today was that the police was out, because, the school policing initiative begins today. So the police were out today in New Providence to the various schools, and they were introduced to their principals and the administrative staff of each of the schools and the security officers that the police are going to be working along with. There are some minor concerns. Preston Aubrey High School in Eleuthera, there's some physical structural damage that they have that is incomplete at this time. So we're going to try to make sure that ministry and the department gets those repairs completed. Central Andrews High School, they would have indicated to me that they're concerned that they have a few teachers short. So that's something I would have already brought to the attention of the persons at the ministry and the Department of Education. So I hope that those matters will be resolved.
And while teachers are ready to impart knowledge, a number of students we talked to today say they are ready for the task. They say the summer break is over and it's time to get deep into the books.
I'm taking my BGCSEs and some of my SATs this year, so I'm just hoping to have a progressive school year, I guess. Trying to accomplish all I can.
I feel excited to meet new friends and to make the honor roll.
Well, I'm looking forward to improve my grades from last year and also to be a better student.
It feels a bit, I love school, but it feels a bit weird getting back into the normal school routine. But being here with my friends and my teachers is still a good experience.
I'm looking forward to doing well in school, doing excellent, and getting high grades and A's.
I am very excited to be back at Queens College. I'm a person that really loves school a lot, and so it's very exciting to be back.
And what a difference a week makes. How bad was the back-to-school commute? Find out coming up.